Okay, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all of you. I hope you're all doing well. Welcome to the third webinar of the Domino 14.5 Early Access Program. We're excited to be sharing with you the updates of the third drop of the code for Domino 14.5 EAP. My name is Annalyn Policarpio, and I'm one of the product managers for the Domino product family. And I'm thrilled to be joined by my fellow product managers, Tim Clark and Thomas Hample. Tim, Thomas, would you like to say a quick hello to our audience?
Hey, hello audience. All right.
All right. Yep. Okay. Thank you for that. Oh, before we dive in, just a quick reminder about the standard disclaimer, of course. Everything that we're showing today is still part of our early access program. The features and functionalities are subject to change, so please keep that in mind as we go along. And if at any point, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, or feedback, feel free to use the chat or the questions panel in the GoToMeeting webinar. All right. Okay, so let's do a quick recap. The last time we held a webinar was back in December, just before the holiday season, and a lot has happened since then. So let me refresh your memory on what's been going on in the Early Access program. So this program is where you get early access to upcoming features, and it follows a stage release. And with each drop, we're adding more features and enhancements that you can explore. And as soon as it's ready, we release the code for you to be able to test it. And of course, we have an open forum when you can share with us your feedback during the program. And so far, we've released Drop 1 in September 2024, and we have a Drop 2 in December. And then we did a server only refresh for Drop 2 in March just recently. And now, of course, we are on Drop 3 released just yesterday. And we're also planning a client-only refresh of the Drop 3 in May. That's next month. And of course, ultimately, we're aiming for the general availability of the Domino 14.5 code in June. All right, moving on. I just wanted to share with you these numbers. We've had over 2,000 downloads of the early access program kits, and I'm sure it's counting as we've just released Drop 3 yesterday. We have over 300 unique customers participating in the EAP program in more than 900 forum posts so far. So that's a lot of feedback, questions, and yes, of course, the occasional why is this not working? We've read it all, and it truly helps us make Domino 14.5 better. So we just wanted to take this opportunity to say thank you for your continued participation and support. You're an essential part of this release. All right, so let's jog your memory. Let's quickly go over the few highlights from Drop 1, starting with the core updates. We updated the Java JPM to version 21. We upgraded the Eclipse. We introduced auto update support for AIX. And over on Windows and Linux, we now have auto install working. We also introduced Domino as an OIDC provider for the first time back in Drop 1. And on Notes client, we added basic mode support for 64-bit clients along with same-time web chat integration. That was just Drop 1. In Drop 2, the spotlight is on Domino IQ, our AI-driven engine that's starting to bring smarter capability into the Domino platform. And we promise you, you'll be hearing a lot more about that as we go forward. We also updated on time to version 11.5.1. We added workspace search in the Notes client to make finding apps easier. we announced the deprecation of the iNotes UI. By the way, if you haven't already, now's a great time to move to Verse for your webmail. And as mentioned earlier, for Drop 2, we did a server-only refresh just last month, which brought even more updates to Domino IQ, enhancements to the Domino OIDC provider, additional improvement around passkey, which we'll be diving into later in today's session. Okay, now on to Drop 3. We continue to build on Domino IQ with more enhancements and an important heads up, there are updated install requirements for Domino IQ. We also added support for remote LLMs. On the Notes client side, Domino IQ is now helping you do more with less effort. We've added the summarize and suggested reply in the mail template. We also have an update on the traveler side. We've made an important update around the APNS authentication, which we'll also cover in a later slide. All of these new updates and features, by the way, you can find in the release notes and the Watch New documentation. You can scan that QR code or just click on the access the knowledge article that we have published for that. Okay, for the installed components for the 14.5 early access program, such as Nomad and Verse, which is installed by default, the version that we picked up for EA3 is the latest version for Nomad, which is version 1015 IF1, and we have version 324 for Verse. And moving on, now on to the technical details. Starting with the Domino updates, I'll hand this over to Thomas. Take it away.
All right. Thank you, Annalyn, for the introduction and the recap of what happened before. Now, this is EA3. I'm not going to talk about the bits and pieces we already have covered in previous webinars, but since we have not been talking about the EA2 refresh that introduced a couple of features on the server side, I'm going to mix them in with the updates that you're going to see in the early access code drop 3. Now, one of the new features in Domino 14.5 is auto update, a new capability to upgrade your servers in place if you want to. And one of the features in there in the auto upgrade database is to have a choice or to make a choice on whether or not you want the Domino directory design to be updated at the point in time when you upgrade your servers. Now, part of the forum feedback that we've received was, hey, what about all the other system databases? What about other databases that also have received new versions of the template when you upgrade your server? Well, good news is we have you covered. This setting here, directory design updates, that will actually also update the Domino, the design of other system database templates if the server that you are currently upgrading is the one listed as the administration server of the database. But you can also do that manually, and that is done by a new setting in the designer task. So if you switch to the next slide, Annalyn still maintains control over the slides. So there it is. You see the design task has a new option, has 3 new options, and you can see them by running the load design dash question mark. So the first one is -SD, which will perform an update of system databases only, and which system databases those are is shown on the right-hand side. You also can say, I want to update only those where the admin server is the current server, so that's the -ADM switch. And the third new option is to send an email with the update actions done to a specified internet address of your choice. So thanks to your feedback, that has been done, and I hope you'll try it out and give us feedback whether you like it. This is a rather technical webcast, so we are jumping from one technical feature to another. So let's take a look at another update that was introduced in EA2 refresh. A number of passkey related settings, passkey being the feature that allows you to authenticate with a server without using passwords. It's actually the more secure and more user-friendly version of authentication. But in previous versions, you had to set nodes inis to configure it correctly. Now, this has all been taken over to the Domino directory, to the security settings of an internet site, for instance. And you see it's now exposed to the UI if you enable the passkey in brackets web out n feature. When you set that to yes, the passkey settings section will appear. But one thing that I personally quite like is a new feature that will encourage customers to use passkeys, and you can turn that on a per internet site basis. So you can basically distribute like initial passwords to your users, but the first time when they log in, they are requested to create a passkey. Let's take a look at what this would look like. I've recorded a small video together with our security team for you. So here we use Domino as an OIDC provider, and we have configured Domino to require a passkey or to enable passkeys. Now I'm typing my username OIDC test2 here, and when I click next, it will identify that there is no current passkey available, but it will enforce the create passkey setting. I can't change that anymore. So once I'm authenticated, it will directly request me to create a new passkey for which you can either use your phone, your current computer, the macOS touch bar, or whatever it's called nowadays, and then you are logged in. So really easy to create new passkeys, and not only you are being authenticated to the web stack of the server, you actually are authenticated to the ID vault, which means you can read and write encrypted messages, as you can see here when I'm opening encrypted emails. Now, for proof, let's log out and going to terminate the OIDC token here. So now logging in with OIDC test2. I can create another passkey if I wanted to, but if I try to log in, Domino will find out, hey, you already have a passkey, and it will prompt me to provide that very same passkey to log me in. Quite convenient, quite user-friendly, and I highly encourage you to enable passkey support on your servers. As I mentioned before, this can be done on a per internet site basis, so you can try this out on one site of yours before moving it into a larger production environment. Let's move on to the next page, to another slightly related topic. OIDC is the new authentication method of choice these days, and Domino can be turned into an OIDC provider. For this, to provide better management capabilities, Early Access 2 Refresh provided a number of new server commands that I just wanted to mention here. So if you have configured Domino to be your identity provider as an admin, you can then use these commands to see like which clients have been registered, what keys were issued, and so on. And you can also revoke them at the command line if necessary. The other way around, when Domino is using another remote identity provider, on the next slide, there was a situation that was identified by one of the beta testers, the early access program testers in our forum. Jeffrey, by the way, thank you for that. He found out that in some cases, when you have Domino configured to trust a remote identity provider, you need to define which trusted root that identity provider is using. So thanks to the work that Jeffrey and the security team did here, we have evolved this feature, and we are now providing you a configuration option to say clearly which trusted root is to be used for which connection. Yeah. All right. What else is new on the Domino server? Well, good news for all of those out there who love to run the Domino license analyze utility, the DLAO utility that I'm sure you have seen in one or the other occasion in the past. Now, in Early Access 3, we are providing an integrated version of that user interface. It's called the License Dashboard, and it is a new system database that will be there. So you don't have to download a template. You don't have to create a new database from scratch. You can just run your Domino server and at any point in time access that new system database to see how many authorized users your environment has. I also have a small little video for you showing this thing in action. So if Annalyn moves to the next slide and clicks the link, we can see this is a new database. It's called dominodla.nsf. And its design, it's similar to the DLAO dashboard we had before. And you can see active users currently as of today and all the active users you had at peak times in the past X number of days. You can also create the very same report that maybe sales teams will be asking for. Yeah, basically same functionality, but now it is always there. You don't have to run this tool. You don't have to click scan processes. It's all done server side. For the administrators here in this call, you can see that the application also contains detailed information about which servers have provided detailed user information. And also, in case you are running external users in your environment, you just configure the certifier that you are using for those external users in just the configuration document there. And the license dashboard will honor those settings in the report. It should make your life a lot easier. So please give it a try. I need to say there's, of course, we fully understand you, of course, of not upgrading all your servers on day one to version 14.5. So for quite a while, customers may run Domino environments in mixed mode. Now, this new feature only works for Domino servers in version 14.5, and that's why the red text above is displayed. As long as there are servers of lower releases in your domain, the dashboard will say, oh, please be careful. This dashboard may not be complete. You still need to run a DLAO report if you want to get the full picture. But I'm sure for an early access code drop 3, you're not running this in production. You are running this in an isolated test environment. And for that, it should provide sufficient information. So we would like to hear back from you on what you think of the license dashboard now being integrated. Speaking of integrated, I need to switch to the next slide now. Thank you, Annalyn, to talk about the primetime feature that is integrated in Domino. It's called Domino IQ. And starting with EA2, EA2 refresh actually in March, we are now including special support for GPUs. Now, for those of you who haven't seen Domino IQ before, just a brief mention that this is the AI component of Domino, and AI needs parallel processing quite a bit. So it's required to have special GPU hardware in your Domino server in order to support the parallel processing needed by Domino IQ. Early Access 2 Refresh introduces special support for NVIDIA GPUs. So it's kind of I call it a driver, a kind of a connection to the hardware to better utilize the compute capabilities of the GPU. If you would like to give this a try, make sure that you have sufficient hardware in place. There is a link down here to the hardware specs. And yeah, give this a try. Now, we did introduce this in early access too, and when we did so, we realized the Domino server installation package is growing in size quite a bit, actually. I think the Domino server install package was about 1.1 gigabyte, but when we introduced the NVIDIA support, the size was increased by 400, 500 megabytes. So the installer became 1.5, 1.6 gigabyte in size. Now in EA3, we are reverting this just to make the installer smaller again. So the necessary additional files for the NVIDIA GPU support, they are now available as a separate package. And that means when you run the Domino installer, the option Domino IQ is no longer visible as an option because you need to download that other package that you will find in the My HCL software download portal, and you need to extract them and put them in place. We asked a question in our forum, and the feedback was people wanted to have this separated, and it actually makes sense because there may be more vendors, more hardware that we want to support in the future, and that's why the individual components, the individual SDKs to communicate to establish the communication between Domino and the underlying GPU, that is always hardware specific. So it might be the better choice to parse this out. Again, we also want to know about, want to hear your feedback. So if you have any opinion about this, please post to our forum. All right, we will see a demo about Domino IQ later on in the client section. But one feature I'd like to mention before we move on is based on your request as well. We had customers, or well, we had you asking for supporting existing AI engines. Domino IQ, in the way we built it, was running local on the Domino server. But a number of customers had existing AI machines, AI servers already in their environment. And they asked, can we actually configure Domino IQ to run against our existing AI engine? A new setting was therefore introduced in Domino IQ, highlighted here in green, where you just need to specify this is a remote endpoint, and then you specify which endpoint URL Domino IQ will be talking to. For more details, the description on how to set this up is all provided in the link down at the bottom of the screen. And of course, you are going to get the slides as a handout. Try this out if you have an existing AI engine. If not, please run it on Domino, but don't forget, for sufficient performance, you will need a GPU. All right, there is one more topic I'll need to mention, and that is the Domino IQ task status. If you do a show task on your server console, you'll see Domino IQ running, model loaded, and you'll see the model name. There are a few new commands that were introduced for situations where you want to change the model that you are running on. So please take a look at the documentation if you want to set this up. I just want to mention this as this was new in a recent release. All right, just one small demo is a new feature that I think our Lotus script developers will be interested in. And that's a new Lotus script class or new Lotus script method that would actually allow using Domino IQ in streaming mode. So as you can see here on the screen, it allows to build applications that behave like the well-known AI chatbots where text is advancing as it is provided by the AI backend. There is a new Lotus script method. I have put the link down there, and there also is a code example for Lotus script and Java developers who want to use this feature in production. Yeah, and with that, I think we are almost running out of time for my Domino server part, so I'll have to hand over to Tim, talking about what's new in the Nodes client.
Thanks, Thomas. So we've been looking at what Thomas has been doing and the server team have been doing with Domino IQ, and we wanted to give you guys an example in probably the app that everyone's tried, used, still uses. So we've put it into the Mail app. We could have put it into Team Room or Discussion, but we decided Mail is probably the best place to put it because you'll have the most data there to play with. So what we've done is to give you an example, and you can find this in the design because it's all open source. You'll be able to go through and summarize your email with the Domino IQ. So you'll go to an email that you want to do it with, you'll go down to this menu, the three dots menu, and right down the bottom, you'll be able to find the summarize. Now, because it's not a tease fest, okay, and we're not trying to make things difficult, this will only show if you have Domino IQ set up and configured correctly on your server, and the server in your location document is one, where your mail file is one that's aware of Domino IQ. So this will only show if you can actually use it. So we're not trying to tease you with stuff that's not going to work, because we think that will just bring dissatisfaction to you and your users. So if you go on to the next slide, please, Annalyn. Along with that, we've also allowed you to reply with IQ. So Domino IQ will look at the email that you've got, and it will try and work out what to do as a reply for you. So we've got two examples. One is summarize the email thread that I've got, and the next one is I want to reply with Domino IQ. And you can do, obviously, as you see here, you can do reply or reply all with history. So it will allow you to use AI, whatever AI engine you're using, whether that's Domino IQ or something else, to create that reply and allow you to send it off. And we have a demo in the next slide. Again, this only shows if it's configured, so you're all good. Here's the code. So, we absolutely want you to be able to take this and use this. Take this as an example, set it up in your applications and use it where you think it's useful. But you'll see here that we're actually going and sending a request to the AI engine and waiting for the response to come back, and then using the rest of that in our Lotus script. So it's really easy to use, and here's an example of how it works. So if you can click play on this video, please, Annalyn. Brilliant, here we go. So we've got this email here. It looks like we've got some electronic ticket. Brilliant. And now what we're going to do is we're going to summarize this. Here you go. So it's not too badly hidden. It's in the three dots menu, nice and easy to find so long as it's configured. Give the AI some few seconds, and there you go. There's your response. It's giving you a nice little summary in a dialog box, which you can cut and paste if you want to, and then click OK. Brilliant. So we're going to reply with IQ, and it's going to reply to all. So off we go. Here we go. Give it a few seconds to work out what it's going to do, and it's created you a reply without you having to do anything. Clearly, we would recommend you check these before you actually hit send. Make sure you read it, make sure you understand what it's trying to say before you actually send this off to people. So there you go. You can summarize what the email's about, and you can have the AI help you create your reply. And with that, I think we're back to Annalyn.
Yep, thank you so much, Tim. All right, for the EAP drop 3, we have something for you on the traveler side. So for this drop, we've made key improvement on how the traveler server communicates with the Apple push notification service. So this service is being used for push notifications for the Verse iOS and Traveler To-Do apps. In 14.5, the APNS authentication has changed from certificate-based to token-based. And what this means for you is if you're an administrator, you no longer need to manage and replace those P12 certificates every year. So it saves you time, there's less manual effort, and it also minimizes the risk of disruptions due to expiring certificates. Um, just want to make note that the current APNS certificates that we have available out there is available until March 2nd next year. And to ensure push notifications to continue working for your apps after this date, we encourage you to upgrade your Traveler server to 14.5 when it comes in June. All right. And with that, moving on to the next section, how to take part. So if you've been with us since our first early access program, you know the drill. If you're new, it's fine. Here's how you can participate in the early access program. If you're already a Domino CCP customer, you will have access to the EAP kits, which are exclusively available in our My HCL software portal. There is a Domino Early Access Program widget in there where you can access the kits. You can also be part of the discussion, join our Domino 14.5 EAP forum, and now that we are on EA3, now is the perfect time to share your feedback. We read all your responses in there. So yeah, please make sure to, leave your inputs, leave your comments, or if you have any questions, yeah, feel free to post them there. And for the webinar resources, as usual, all of our webinars are being recorded. We have created a knowledge article where we have compiled all the resources that we've used for the previous webinars. We have two available out there. It's posted in YouTube. You can find the link in that knowledge article, along with the PDF of the presentations and then some of the Q&As from the previous session. And of course, we will post the recording of this current webinar and the slides hopefully within the week. So stay tuned for that. And yeah, we're almost there. The GA build is just around the corner. Again, reminder of what version of the installed components will be on the release. We have 1015 IF1 for Nomad and 324 for Verse. There's going to be a Nomad release shortly in June. I think before only a few days before the release of Domino 14.5. If you have auto update on, you'll get notified and you can upgrade to the upcoming versions of these components. And upcoming events. Yes, so we want to take the opportunity to plug or draw attention to the upcoming events that we have for the Domino community. Of course, we have Engage coming right up in May. That's May 19 to 21. It's going to be held in The Hague in Netherlands. We also have a Suro Symposium that's happening on June 11 in Czech Republic. And of course, our own Domino 14.5 launch. Please stay tuned for the announcements of when and where this is going to happen. We also have a community event in Asia, a Domino Hub 2025, which is going to happen in Tokyo, Japan on June 19 to 20. And of course, we have TACNOG on June 23 to 25 in Vienna, Austria. Thomas or Tim, anything you want to add here?
Well, exciting couple of weeks ahead, especially because we're all looking forward to see you all at least one of those events. The first one being Engage, where new exciting things will be revealed, I heard. So please sign up to at least one of those events and see you there. As for other comments, I can already say there were a few questions posted, and seeing that we have a bit of time, maybe we can answer at least some of them.
Yep, we can now go into the Q&A section.
Yeah, well, good news is we've asked a few of our more technical people to join. They're already listening and they have been answering questions behind the scenes. So now, Dave, Daniel, and others, you might want to unmute yourself so that you can chime in to answer questions. I'm just going top down here. One question that was asked was about passkeys. And the question was, will passkeys work with different hardware? Maybe for Dave to answer.
Sure. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yep.
All right. So passkeys are based on the WebAuthn spec, which has been around for a very long time, but it never really caught on. And one of the problems there was because it didn't work on different hardware. And that's probably why we are hearing these questions and why this is a fairly common refrain. People needing to buy like multiple USB keys and install their and register keys on different pieces of hardware. Passkeys is a term used to refer to the latest version of the specification. And in that one, you can actually perform secure backups across pieces of hardware within the same ecosystem. So if you're an Apple user, all of the hardware you have that is logged into your Apple ID will have access to the passkeys generated on all of them. So generate a passkey on your iPhone, you can use it on your MacBook, and vice versa. With Windows, they added similar support starting in Windows 11. So if you're logged into your Windows account on Windows 11, you'll have access to that passkey on all of your Windows 11 systems. Similarly, Android is an ecosystem, and a bunch of third-party providers are working on adding that same secure backup and synchronization technology. So back to you, Thomas.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Just pausing through. I hope that answers the question in more details. So the next one was exactly the same. Will you be able to use passkeys to authenticate with Nomad Web? Or same area of technology, at least.
So I'm proud to say you can do that today with EA3. The way you do that is you configure Nomad to log in with OIDC, and then you configure that Domino OIDC provider for passkey authentication. That's actually likely to be the approach that we use going forward, expanding passkey support to more applications, adding support for the app to use OIDC, and then you can configure that Domino OIDC provider for any authentication technique you prefer. You can use custom DOM config login forms and so on. And that will give you a central point of authentication and a far greater control over what is going on than adding individual pieces of technology piecemeal to a whole pile of different clients.
Okay, thank you.
Thomas, I've seen a really interesting question there. There's one about Domino IQ being used without having an NVIDIA GPU. Will it actually work?
It is technically possible. However, it's no fun to run it without a GPU, simply because it's by an order of magnitude a lot faster. Speaking of like factor of 100 or more. So
for testing and like seeing if it's going to work in your environment, that would be okay. But in production, you'd absolutely want an NVIDIA GPU, right?
Yes, and
Yes.
maybe we can have Daniel and Nirmala making a few comments about it, because the way it is documented is please have a GPU. Nirmala, are you on?
So yeah, I'm here. So initially in the first release of Domino IQ, the early access part, we did provide only the CPU enabled version of the inferencing engine. But in EA2 refresh and EA3, we only provide the NVIDIA GPU base. It's as Thomas said, it is much, much faster, where, within a few seconds, we actually get a response, where before it would take a much longer time. And again, you want to use the CPUs on the box for other useful work that the Domino server does, right? So, and you don't want to be contending on those resources. It's not only the CPU, it's basically the main issues around the memory and the parallel processing that GPU does, right? For, it's just suited for the core, the tensor operations that is part of the AI engine. So we definitely recommend for production use cases only GPUs. Given that, we are looking at also the CPUs are also getting much better. And in the future, we are looking at providing the Llama server component that would work both on CPU and GPU on different CPU architectures too, because each of the CPU architectures, do perform differently. And we see that evolving in the AI space too. So as we see the Llama components getting to be, better operational on a CPU, we plan to provide that too. So stay tuned.
All right. Thank you. Browsing through questions. How about this one? Annalyn was just showing the list of events, and there was one question asking, what about an event in the US? Tim, do you want to cover that?
Sure. Thanks, Annalyn, for going back to that slide. I just want to reiterate what Annalyn and Thomas said about this slide. If you've not signed up to one of these events and it's possible for you to get there, absolutely go. Come and meet with the community. Come and meet with us, because we'll be at some of these events, if not most of them. And it'll be great to see you and great for you to have a touch point with other people where you can ask questions and have a forum and talk to like-minded people. Right, it's a great place to be. As for the North America stuff, there was an event called CollabSphere. The guy who ran it, Richard Moy, decided not to run it last year. I'm not sure what's happening this year. There has been talk that they were going to try and get something together. I've not seen the final details of that yet, but I believe they are trying to pull together an event. As and when that happens, obviously we will publicize it as and when we can, but it will be put on places like the support forum, and you'll see it on LinkedIn. So keep an eye on those places for that kind of stuff. And if you want an event in North America and there isn't one, then why don't you set one up? Running a user group's good fun. I've done it myself. It's a lot of work, but it's great fun and the rewards are brilliant. So I would recommend, if there isn't one where you want one, make one yourself and have people come along. Even if it's just beer and pizza one night in a pub, and get people to come along and talk about a Domino topic or an IQ topic or whatever.
And it needs to be noted that these are just the events, the large events in May and June, and there was a lot of more happening later this year that we just didn't put on the slide. Right.
So, Annalyn, are there any questions that you've seen? I've seen one for you, actually. Is there a command that allows me to identify the expiration date of my Traveler P12?
There is, and I will have to look up the exact command that you can run, and I'm pretty sure it's available and documented in our product documentation. So I'll pull it up and then I'll answer you over the chat. But yeah, yes, there is, to answer the question.
Great.
Okay.
The answer is posted here already by someone. Tell Traveler Push CM status that shows the certificates and the expiration.
There you go. Brilliant.
Yep, thank you. Yep.
So we'll just reply to Quinn with that.
There was a question about the integrated license dashboard. So it's a longer question. I need to expand. What is the updating cycle of the license dashboard? Will there be regular versions like for DLAO? Because DLAO was shipping standalone templates that customers had to download and apply every time they run it. Yeah, so it seems like it's for me to answer the question that I brought up myself. This is an integrated feature, so no need to update templates, no need to run separate updates. In case the functionality needs updating, we will do that as part of a fix pack of the product. The numbers, meaning the user counts in the tool, they update daily. So when you open up this new license dashboard, the numbers in front of your eyes are from today's date. I hope that answers that question. Tim, want to pick another one?
Let's go with Will
The
Traveler
AWS quiz.
also use passkeys?
Oh, that's a good one. Dave, can you help out here if Traveler can use passkeys?
Not in 14.5, but that's a great idea. And please vote for it on AHA so we can triage that into an upcoming release.
Yep, and I second that. That is not yet available, but yep, that is being planned. That's still in the backlog, and I believe there's an existing idea for that. So yeah, please vote for it.
Okay.
Okay, and I think there's a really interesting one here for you, Thomas, and maybe Daniel, because I know you both have a vested interest in this. Are there any plans that in Domino 14.5, the Docker image will be updated when important fixes will be released?
I was about to answer that in chat. So probably the question is referring to the IF situation that we had end of last year. So technically, currently there is no process in place to create interim fix builds of the container image. And I don't think there are any plans until Thomas decides to do something here. We recommend using the community image if you can anyhow, because it's always up to date. It provides you the latest versions of all add-on products. And it's very easy to build, right? So
Daniel, can I stop you there and give an example?
yes, of course.
So earlier this month, I was asked by Maria Nordin to update the Domino server that we use to run the ambassadors program, and that's running an old version. So this is the scenario. It's running on CentOS 7, which is no longer supported. It was running 12.01, I believe, no longer supported, and it was running Domino Vault 104, no longer supported. So it had three things that it wasn't going to work. So I sat down, I got some advice from Daniel, who helped me out, and I managed to get a new Ubuntu server set up. I managed to get a new version of Domino installed and built with the latest version of Domino Leap 1.16 at that point, and I managed to migrate over all the data and bring it all back together in 38 minutes. And I promise you it was 38 minutes because I timed it. From start to finish, we got that server from unsupported to supported and running in 38 minutes. So that community script for running the Domino servers using Docker or Podman or whatever your choice is, it's invaluable. It's really good. I absolutely love it because it makes my life as an administrator of a Domino server super simple, and I can just go with a simple command, okay, go and get me the latest stuff, upgrade it all and bring my box back up, and it's there and done. So Daniel, I'm sure will, point you at the right place to find that stuff, but that community script is fabulous for bringing up Domino servers. There you go. That's my plug done. I've finished selling you, Daniel. Crack on.
Well, thanks for.
We have to say the community image is like where we make all the changes and add new functionality. And what we have just done for 14.5 EA3, we updated to latest UBI 9.5 and also took a new snapshot from the community repro and put this into the container image. But the container image remains a snapshot, and it's only building the integrated components that Domino has with no extra options. So the community image is really the one that gives you all the different options on top of that. And customization. And as Tim said, it's really easy to use. Meanwhile, it has a menu, a build menu with download integration. So if you have questions, there, raise an issue in the GitHub project. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just going through the board and to see which of the posts is an actual question, because people are pinging back and forth with comments to questions we already answered. Maybe another OIDC question, Dave, again for you. The question here was authenticating connections and same time with Domino, where Domino is the OIDC provider. Is that going to be a supported configuration?
So for same time, we have that in the backlog. So please vote for that on AHA so we can triage the work properly. For connections, I actually want to point it back to you, Thomas, as I seem to recall you showing me a demo of connections doing this very thing.
Yes, indeed. It was our technical advisors, that technical support specialists that were trying this when we introduced the OIDC provider feature, and it already works. So you can connect, you can configure Domino to be your OIDC provider and have connections authenticating against Domino.
The joys of working with standards.
Yeah. So Tony, I hope that's answering your question.
We have a question come in about Domino IQ, Thomas. Can it connect to a notes database?
Can it connect to a notes database? I think this is a bigger question, because what we were showing here, the video that you showed, is a notes database. It is content from an email that we asked it to summarize. So technically, yes, it connects, but the way it's done is that the button you clicked will transfer the information to be summarized. The bigger question might be, can we just point Domino IQ to a database and let it do its thing? That would be a more comprehensive answer to give, and maybe that's worth a workshop or a webinar on its own. Currently, Domino being a platform means that you are writing the code to your applications. Only you know which document types and which fields in your application contain valuable data. So you will have to do a bit of kitting to take the data you want to have AI-enabled, AI analyzed, and run some script against that data. We would like to make this a lot easier, of course. That's why, come to see us at one of the upcoming events and conferences for more interesting demos on what you can do with Domino AI, such as getting more value out of your existing data.
And finally, I think there's a question here for you, Annalyn. Where can I find the recordings of EA1 and EA2? I can't find them on HCL Software U. So I'm sure you had a slide for that, maybe.
Yep. Let me switch over to that slide, and while switching over to that, right here, it's also posted in our YouTube channel, HCL Digital Solutions. We have the replays of the webinars in there, not just for Domino, but the other uh, product portfolio is in there as well. And for EAP specific resources, you can find it here. Just scan the QR code and you'll get copies of the presentation and links to the recording. Hope that helps.
Yes, it does. Do we want to take more of the questions that are coming in? Because it's already scrolling off the screen.
I think it was just one more that came in, Thomas, which was what happened to code management, Git, Bitbucket capabilities in the Domino designer sphere.
Yeah, we fixed it, we demoed it, we delivered it as part of v14. Domino Designer v14 includes an updated source control management system where you can actually synchronize with an on-disk project and then put the on-disk project into your favorite source control system of choice. Git obviously being most commonly used platform, Git being the protocol, GitHub being a server, but Bitbucket and other platforms also speak the Git protocol. So yeah, it's there to use it. Hope that answers that question. So thank you.
I think that's it. Annalyn, back to you.
All right. Okay, yep, we do appreciate all the questions, engagements that are coming in. If there's a quick poll that we have right up here, if you have a quick minute to please answer that poll. Would you like to be contacted to learn more about upgrading Domino 14.5? Please do take some time to answer that. We'll give you a minute. And then, yep, for the upcoming events, Tim, Thomas, and I, and also Trevor, I think will be on at Engage. So, yep, hope to see you there. And also for the upcoming events. And again, the recording for this webinar will be posted this afternoon in our YouTube channel, and then I'll be also updating the link in this knowledge article. All right. Can we share the results or?
We will be putting this in the blog post or the where we put the Q&A, I think.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yep. All right.
All right. Then let's conclude this short webinar. It was just a quick update, a quick technical update. What we and our development teams are now working on is to work on the EA3 refresh, the client-side refresh, and of course the GA build. There is a lot of testing the teams have to do. Of course, taking your feedback, your comments from that EA3 build into the final product. So that's going to be really packed couple of weeks, and then yeah, Engage is just around the corner. So come see us there for interesting features, demos, and a lot of fun at these events.
Okay, and with that, we will conclude this webinar. Again, thank you so much for your time. Thank you to all our attendees. Thank you to our panelists, Tim and Thomas. Thank you both, and we'll see you guys again on our next webinar. Thank you very much, and have a great day, everyone. Thank you.
Ciao.